Welcome to a Legendarium special that will seek to answer a simple question. Why did the teeth of 19th century Americans explode? Teeth have long been the source of much use, joy, and trouble throughout human history. One of the first known examples of dental work dates back 7,500 years ago. A jawbone discovered in a cave located in present-day Slovenia included a lump of beeswax applied to ease the pain from a crack in the enamel of a tooth. Tragically, toothache could be torture in an age before cheap and effective dentistry. An inquest in Sussex in 1862 showed how a man committed suicide after a toothache that lasted 5 months. Before then, his family and friends observed the patient crying day after day for hours on end because of his agony. Yet few people have ever had to worry about their teeth exploding like bombs. In 1860, longtime dentist William Atkinson testified about 3 extraordinary cases he witnessed in which just that happened. In 1817, a reverend in Mercer County, Pennsylvania, began to experience the worst toothache of his life. Gripped with pain, the reverend ran about in a desperate attempt to find relief. He beat his head on the ground, poked it under the corner of a fence, and plunged his head into a cold water spring. Unsurprisingly, this so alarmed his family that they dragged him into a cabin and tried to calm him down. Yet nothing relieved the reverend's pain until 9 o'clock the next morning. He walked the floor in a state of delirium until suddenly, with a sound like a pistol shot, his tooth burst into pieces. At that moment, the reverend turned to his wife and said, "My pain is gone." He then went to bed and slept through the day and the following night, then went back to his usual routines. The dentist, Mr. Atkinson, described 2 other cases in Pennsylvania, one in 1830 and another in 1855. Like the reverend, both patients suffered from a buildup of increasingly horrific pain, followed by an exploding tooth and then instant relief. In one case, the tooth is noted to have crumbled into pieces. Now, if only Mr. Atkinson witnessed these dental detonations, we might write them off as nothing but tall tales. Yet another dentist in the United Kingdom observed similar events. A second dentist named J. Phelps Habler described a patient in 1874 overcome by terrible dental pain. It became so severe that she started suffering from hallucinations. As Dr. Hibler tried to treat her, he observed her right lower molar suddenly burst with a sharp sound and awesome force that knocked her over. When Dr. Hibler observed the offending tooth, he found it split from the lingual to the buccal surface. The sound left the patient deaf in one ear for some time, yet her jaw stopped aching at once. What could possibly have been going on? There are several theories that try to explain this. One theory argued that gas could build up in a decaying tooth, causing it to eventually explode. Gas buildup in teeth can happen, but likely will not cause enough pressure to make a tooth explode in the patient's mouth. Whatever the root cause, the cases started to dry up during the 1920s, which means they cannot be directly studied. A more likely explanation, proposed by Andrea Sella of University College London, argues that the strange phenomenon could have occurred because of chemicals used to make fillings. In the 1800s, dentists used many different metals to fill cavities, from the inadvisable tin to the even more inadvisable lead. If a dentist used 2 different metals in the same mouth, it could turn their mouths into a battery and cause spontaneous electrolysis. Modern scientists have further determined that a badly done filling, which leaves part of the cavity exposed, would lead to a buildup of hydrogen in the mouth. The tooth could then become ignited while the patient smoked a cigarette. While these are better explanations, neither of them are completely airtight. The only other known case of exploding incisors came among Arctic explorers. However, medical science has firmly explained these cases as being caused by a combination of extreme cold and a high-sugar diet among the explorers that badly weakened their teeth. Back in warmer climes, as the cases stopped happening suddenly around 1920, it is likely related to an old dental practice which is thankfully no longer used. That also means we do not have to worry about our teeth sitting in our mouths like time bombs waiting to explode. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.